There comes a moment in your life where you get tired. Not just physically, but spiritually. You get tired of your own excuses. Tired of starting over. Tired of almost making it. You look in the mirror and see the same potential you've always had, locked behind patterns, delays, distractions. And in that moment, something deeper than motivation starts to whisper. It says, "What if you just didn't stop this time?" That's where this story begins. Not with talent, not with brilliance, but with a quiet war against inconsistency. We live in a culture that worships speed, yet ignores the slow burn of consistency. The kind of consistency that doesn't ask for applause. The kind that shows up on the days no one sees you. The kind that doesn't care how you feel, only that you move. There's a law. It's simple, but it will shake the very structure of your life. I call it the law of 100. It's not a trend. It's not a hack. It's not a shortcut. It's a code for those who are ready to shift from interested to unstoppable. Here's what it asks of you. Pick one habit, one single intentional act that matters. Then do it for 100 days straight. No breaks, no skipping, no explanations. Now, you might hear that and think, that's too basic. But that's exactly why it works. Because we don't need complexity. We need consistency. And the real magic, it starts after you push through the first wave of resistance and find yourself on day 10, 20, 50, building something that used to feel impossible. Building yourself. And the truth is, the person who simply doesn't quit will always outrun the genius who won't start. Because success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing one thing long enough to watch it change your life. The law of 100 is not about speed. It's about becoming someone you trust. Someone who honors their word when no one is watching. And here's where it gets powerful. You don't need to believe in yourself to begin. That's the lie. You just need to move. The belief comes after the motion. You show up again and again, and eventually your brain starts to say, wait, maybe we are the kind of person who follows through. That's how identity is born. Through action, not affirmation. The law of 100 doesn't require perfection. It only asks for presence. That you show up when it's boring. That you move when it's raining. That you try when the world offers you 1,000 excuses to sit still. Because consistency is how dreams grow legs. How goals become muscle memory. And how ordinary people become legends without anyone seeing them until the final reveal. So, before anything else, before the plan, before the applause, comes the decision, a sacred vow between you and your future. Not to be perfect, but to be consistent. And from that vow, everything changes. The keystone inside you. Every structure, every cathedral that has stood for centuries has one defining element holding it together, the keystone. It's the center stone in an arch, the one that bears the weight of everything else. Remove it, and the entire thing crumbles. In your life, that keystone is a habit, not just any habit, but the habit that supports everything you're trying to become. You might not know it yet, but there's one habit inside you that has the power to rewire your entire life. For some, it's waking up early. For others, it's movement, or discipline with food, or time with God, or building something every single day. Whatever it is, once you identify it, everything else starts to fall into place. Not because you're suddenly superhuman, but because that one action opens 100 doors in your spirit. But here's what most people do. They go overboard. They choose 15 habits, try to implement them all at once, burn out in a week, and then say they weren't ready. They wake up one day saying, "This is the new me," and stack meditation, journaling, yoga, sprints, celery juice, and a gratitude list before sunrise. But the keystone habit doesn't demand everything. It demands one thing, done well. Let's say your keystone is waking up at 5 a.m. That's not just a wake-up time. It's a signal to your brain that you're in control. And that one action makes room for other things to thrive. You may feel like reading one morning, or training another, or maybe sitting in silence with your thoughts. Whatever it is, it begins with you rising when you said you would. Or maybe your keystone is physical. Maybe it's hitting the gym consistently, not for the body, for the discipline, for the quiet message it sends your nervous system. We finish what we start. Suddenly, your cravings start to change. You want to drink more water. You sleep cleaner. You begin to carry yourself differently. That single keystone act, done daily, turns chaos into alignment. And the beautiful thing is, the habit doesn't even need to be hard. It just needs to be yours. Something meaningful, something that taps into your core. It's not about willpower, it's about rhythm. It becomes a beat you move to, a pulse of progress, steady and strong. And once you lock into that rhythm, you stop negotiating with your goals. You execute, you trust yourself, you move. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your life doesn't change in a single breakthrough. It changes quietly, behind closed doors, when you choose to honor your keystone habit one more time when you didn't feel like it. That's where the transformation begins, not in a moment of hype, but in the moments where no one's clapping, and you do it anyway. Ghost mode and the art of vanishing. At some point in the journey, you're going to have to disappear. No, not from your responsibilities, not from your family, but from your distractions, from the opinions, from the noise. You're going to have to step into what I call ghost mode. 100 days of silence, of obsession, of war. Because let's face it, the world doesn't care if you succeed. It's not going to clap for you every day. It's going to tempt you, text you, tease you. And if you're not careful, it'll convince you to trade your potential for cheap dopamine. That's why disappearing becomes sacred. You don't need to announce it. You don't need a dramatic goodbye. Just unplug quietly, turn down the volume, and go build. Tell your circle, I'll see you in 100 days, and then do the work. If you're single, this is your time to dominate. No one's pulling at you. No one's scheduling your energy. Your life is your responsibility. You go to work. You come home. You get into the trenches. Build that business. Sculpt that body. Shape that mind. Bury yourself in purpose so deep, people barely recognize you when you return. And if you do have family, you don't abandon them. You become present, fully there when you're there. But you cut the waste. You lose the scrolling, the hours lost to people who aren't building anything. You find the hidden time, and you use it. Because ghost mode is not about running away. It's about going within. It's where warriors are made, where you develop the self-respect that doesn't need external validation, where you stop talking and start becoming. This is the season where you don't care if anyone's watching, where you don't need likes or shares or applause, because the results will speak for you. The transformation will speak louder than any status update ever could. 100 days of disappearing from distractions, of building silently, of becoming unrecognizable to your past self. That's the cost. That's the ticket. That's what separates the few who rise from the many who stay stuck. The discipline of saying no. When you enter ghost mode, it's not just about what you do. It's about what you don't do. It's about the sacred discipline of saying no, over and over again. Not out of negativity, but out of clarity. You begin to realize that every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. Every time you indulge in the quick fix, the mindless scroll, the empty validation, you are borrowing time from your future self. And the cost, it's always higher than you think. Ghost mode demands that you shrink your world, not to escape it, but to master it. You're not ignoring people. You're just refusing to be pulled by energy that doesn't serve the mission. It's not personal, it's purposeful. When your goals become sacred, your time becomes sacred. You stop giving it away like it's free. You guard your hours like a warrior guards his sword. You say no to the party, the gossip, the ego-stroking conversations that lead nowhere. You replace noise with nourishment, music that lifts you, books that build you, environments that remind you who you are becoming. You start to see temptation for what it is, not a test of willpower, but a test of identity. Are you still the old version of yourself, hungry for comfort and recognition? Or are you the disciplined one, the builder, the finisher, the one who no longer bends when pressure knocks? In ghost mode, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your results will do that. your silence will echo louder than words. This is where your power multiplies, not because the world is cheering you on, but because you finally stopped needing it to. Saying no is hard at first. It feels like you're missing out. But then it clicks. You're not missing out. You're getting ahead. You're protecting the masterpiece you're building, you. So stay quiet. Stay focused. Say no without guilt. Because every no to distraction is a yes to the future only you can create. The science of staying. Power so deep beneath all the surface-level motivation and morning routines. There's a law that rules success. Consistency compounds. It doesn't just add, it multiplies. And if you've ever felt like you're making microscopic progress, you probably are. But microscopic progress, compounded over time, becomes unstoppable momentum. Think about it like this. Every day you show up, you deposit one coin into your personal success vault. One coin doesn't feel like much. 10 feels decent. But by day 70, by day 95, that vault isn't just heavy, it's transforming you. The quiet repetition sharpens your edge. The habit becomes a groove in your brain, easier to follow than resist. That's not philosophy, that's neuroscience. Your brain is not static. It rewires itself based on what you repeatedly do. It's called neuroplasticity. And at first, your bad habits are the superhighways. Hitting snooze? That path's smooth. Skipping workouts? No resistance. But when you begin to change, it's like walking through tall, tangled brush with a machete. It's awkward. It hurts. It feels pointless. But the machete is your discipline. And with every cut, every step, you're creating a new path. A path that eventually becomes familiar, comfortable, automatic. That's when people start calling you disciplined, as if it's something you were born with. No, you built it, one swing at a time. And then, one day, something crazy happens. You no longer have to fight to show up. You wake up and it's just who you are now. The gym isn't optional. The work isn't negotiable. You've moved from forcing to flowing. That's the reward of consistency. Not just results, but identity. But here's the catch. None of this works unless you keep going. You can't start and stop. You can't treat your dreams like a side hustle when they require your full attention. You have to own it. And not just when it's convenient, because the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you prove you're serious about. And nothing proves seriousness like consistency. You don't have to be extraordinary to win. You just have to be relentless, day by day, brick by brick, swing by swing. That's how the walls come down. That's how the new path is carved. And that's how you build a life that doesn't just look good, but feels solid beneath your feet. The world changes for people who refuse to skip the reps, who treat every single day like it matters, because it does, even when no one's watching, especially then. The test before the rise. Let's talk about the moment no one prepares you for, the breakdown before the breakthrough. It's the storm that shows up right before the sky clears, the test that comes right before the victory. You've probably felt it. That moment where everything in you screams, "Why is this so hard?" That's the part where most people quit. But what if that breakdown wasn't a sign to stop, but a signal to lean in? Here's the truth. The universe is going to test your seriousness. You're going to be handed obstacles that feel personal. You're going to feel alone, tired, maybe even foolish. You'll wonder if it's worth it. That's the gate. That's the place where most give up, right before everything shifts. Because the breakdown is a purification. It's the fire that burns off the weak parts of you. It strips the excuses. It silences the ego. And if you're willing to stay in it, you don't just pass the test, you evolve. And here's what separates those who rise from those who retreat. Commitment without condition. You don't commit to the process as long as it feels good. You commit even when it doesn't, even when you're frustrated, even when it feels like you're going backward. Because deep down, you know, this is what transformation feels like. You think the winners never wanted to quit? They did. The difference is, they didn't. They didn't negotiate with the pain. They didn't ask for easier. They became stronger. And over time, the pain that once felt like a mountain becomes a memory, a scar that proves you didn't give in. So ask yourself, how many times have you quit on yourself? How many moments of doubt did you treat like the end, when they were really just a call to rise? And now ask, what would change if you decided, really decided, that from this moment forward, quitting is no longer an option? Because that's the switch, that's the shift, that's the moment the old version of you dies and the new one starts to breathe. The one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't ask, "Am I ready?" but says, "Let's go." It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in layers, one hard choice at a time. One day where you stay when your old self would have walked away. That's how you win this war, not by never breaking, but by refusing to stay broken. The last gate. Pain with purpose. Pain is not the enemy. It's the last gate before your next level. And most people turn back at the door, not because they're weak, but because no one taught them that pain is part of the process. The moment you feel like you're breaking is the moment right before the breakthrough. That's when the pressure rises, when your doubts feel loudest, when the discomfort feels endless. That's not the end. That's the signal. It means you're getting close. But here's the key. You must choose to see pain differently, not as punishment, but as preparation. Every ache in your body, every rejection, every setback, it's carving you, shaping you, testing your resolve. And the question is, will you endure it or escape it? The world wants to offer you escape routes, shortcuts, distractions, easy buttons. But escape kills progress. Growth only lives on the other side of pain embraced. And when you learn to welcome that pain, you unlock the kind of inner power that can't be shaken by opinions, failure, or fear. This test is not about speed, it's about depth. Can you hold the line when nothing seems to be working? Can you still move forward with tears in your eyes and fire in your gut? Can you rise not because things got easier, but because you got stronger? That's the moment where greatness is born, quietly, unseen, in the trenches where your old self dies and your future self is forged. You don't need motivation here, you need meaning. You need to remember why you started, because when your why is bigger than the pain, you'll outlast every storm. So the next time it hurts, lean in. The pain is the proof that you're changing. The test isn't trying to break you, it's trying to reveal you, the real you, the unshakable one, the one who finishes, no matter what. A year from now, the unrecognizable. You close your eyes. Picture yourself 1 year from now, not the version of you that starts and stops, not the version that overthinks and overplans and underacts. No, I'm talking about the version of you who stayed with it, who picked one habit and committed like their life depended on it. What does that version look like? How do they speak? How do they walk into a room? How do they feel when they wake up, knowing they've built something no one can take away? That version of you isn't a fantasy. It's a result, the result of one consistent habit done for 100 days, then extended into a lifestyle. But here's the secret. You won't notice the change at first. You'll still feel like you. You'll still have doubts. You'll still question things. But then one day, you'll look back and realize the old you hasn't shown up in weeks. The overthinker, the procrastinator, the excuse maker, gone. Replaced by someone new, someone built, someone earned, like the Chinese bamboo tree. 6 years of watering and nothing happens. Then in the 7th year, it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. That's not magic. That's patience. That's faith. That's the quiet reward of staying planted when everyone else gave up. So now you're standing at a choice. Keep living in cycles, telling yourself you'll start soon, or draw the line and start now. Pick your habit, one action, one commitment. Disappear for 100 days. Build it into your identity. Let the results speak when your words can't. And come back so powerful, people don't recognize your energy anymore. Because the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just undisciplined. And discipline is built, brick by brick, day by day, starting now. So go, do it, and don't stop. Not this time, because you are one decision away from being unrecognizable a year from now. And that decision is yours.